Welcome back to Sussex Family TV. Thank you once again for joining us. Remember, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for always your support. It means the absolute world to us. Now, on the latest news, the Mail on Sunday, Meghan appeal day 2, the rights of Thomas Markle. Now, on the second day of the 3-day appeal by the publishers of the Mail on Sunday against the High Court privacy and copyright judgment in favor of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, the focus of the argument moved to the rights of her father by British tabloids, Thomas Markle. Andrew Caldecott, Queen's Chancellor, barrister for Associated Newspapers, made a case that the judge in the lower court, Lord Justice Wabi, had failed adequately to take account of Mr. Markle's right of reply to what he saw as falsehoods about him published by People magazine. This was a matter that could only have been clarified if all the relevant evidence had been heard from witnesses. Caldecott asserted, so a trial was essential. The central issue before the Court of Appeal is whether Wabi was right to give summary judgment on the basis of written evidence and lawyers' submissions without holding a trial. If Associated wins, in other words, the matter will be sent back to the High Court to be tried in whole or in part. The People article quoted criticism of Mr. Markle's behavior by an anonymous friend of the Duchess and Associated said that it was in response to those criticisms that he turned to the Mail on Sunday, which then published substantial extracts from a letter the Duchess had written him. Caldecott argued that Wabi, in reaching his judgment, underestimated the inaccuracies in the People article, the harm it had done to Mr. Markle and Mr. Markle's legal right to give expression to his views in response. All these were matters that would have been clearer if they had been explored through witnesses at trial. Justin Rushbrook, QC, opening for the Duchess, said that far from failing to take account of these issues, Wabi had explicitly stated in his judgment that his conclusion would have been the same even if Associated had been able to prove at trial every claim it had made, including claims about Mr. Markle. That's what the British tabloids will not post today on your front pages, but we shall talk about it in Sussex Family TV. And I repeat, Wabi had explicitly stated in his judgment that his conclusions would have been the same even if Associated newspapers had been able to prove at trial every claim it had made, including claims about Mr. Markle. So even if Mr. Markle wanted to correct inaccuracies in the People article, whatever it is that he wanted to say, still Justice Wabi would not have ruled differently, that indeed the Mail on Sunday had breached Meghan Markle's privacy and copyright. You cannot publish the whole parts of the letter, all of it, without the consent of the author. Key concept, people, consent. Now British tabloids have moved to start talking about the expectation that Meghan Markle had that possibly the letter might be leaked to the British tabloids, that Meghan Markle shared the reasonable expectation that the letter might be leaked to the British public by the British tabloids. Now, irregardless of all of this, still, the Daily Mail publishing the letter clearly was too intrusive. Rushbrook also argued that the Mail on Sunday, in publishing about half of the letter, had gone far further than merely enabling Mr. Markle to respond to the People article. Most of what it disclosed had nothing to do with anything asserted in People. Absolutely nothing. Instead, he accused the paper of cynically regaling its leaders with sensational material. Very little of the day's business was taken up by the new evidence submitted to the court by Associated in the form of a statement by the Duchess' former press secretary and Prince William's personal employee and the head of the Royal Foundation, Jason Knopf, was rewarded with that position after Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, had left the royal family after intense media onslaught, bullying, and abuse faced by them from the British tabloids, which was accompanied by a series of texts and emails exchanged between Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and Jason Knopf. Caldecott said this evidence showed that when she was writing the letter, the Duchess understood that it could be made public, lending weight to Associated's argument that the letter was never truly a private document. Meghan Markle has a right to privacy. Everything that she writes, we all know that the palace leaks many, many things. Every single person knows that. This public knowledge. However, this was a private text from Meghan to Thomas Markle. And British Tower cannot say that this was truly meant to never be a private document. They just can't say that. And they believe that the judge needs to see beyond everything that has happened. The royal family and the British tabloids work in tandem, basically leaking everything about the Sussexes. Everything, every single bit of information they always leak. Prince Harry has been around a cesspool of palace leakers alongside Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. There's no one they could trust when they were in the royal family. Even when Prince Harry wrote a letter that he was leaving the royal family, was asked to put it in writing, Prince Harry expressed fear that it would be leaked to the press. And indeed, it was. Dan Wotton went on national TV saying how much he got the exclusive and joking about it, saying how much he threatened Harry and Meghan and he would expose them leaving, and he dubbed it Megxit, a misogynistic term towards Meghan, the woman they were clearly hoping would leave the royal family. It was a completely misogynistic and sexist term towards Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, as said by Prince Harry in the recent summit on the big lie, the internet machine big lie, on Rewired. Now, he also cited the statement as evidence that, contrary to her lawyer's submissions, the Duchess had cooperated with the authors of a book, Finding Freedom, that discussed the letter. This, he said, was proof of willingness to feed it into the public bloodstream. Now, irregardless of whether or not Meghan Markle did indeed engage with Omi Scobie and Caroline, irregardless of all that, the fact is the Daily Mail acquired the letter, published it without the consent of the author. Key consent of the author. Let's say a producer makes a film, or Universal Studios makes a film, and someone else outside of that film, let's say an actor, gains possession of that film. It doesn't own the film. It simply takes part in the filming of the movie. But everything is owned by Universal Studios. So the author will be eligible, or the actor, if he or she releases the movie in Twitter or Instagram, he will be eligible for breach of copyright. So in this case, consent was not sought. And for you to do anything, whether to publish a trailer of a movie or a spoiler for a movie, you need consent from the actor, from the owners of the movie or the film. And in this case, these people, they needed consent. The Daily Mail needed consent from Meghan Markle, which they never thought about asking for. They just immediately proceeded to publish the letter with zero regard to Meghan Markle's right to privacy whatsoever. Rushbrook did not address this at any length. He may do so tomorrow, but he placed the Knopf statement under the general heading of matters that Wabi had made allowance for in his judgment. In other words, he argued that Knopf's evidence was not relevant to the appeal. And indeed, it was not. This is a matter of the letter that Meghan Markle wrote to Thomas Markle. It isn't about Meghan Markle cooperating with others or finding freedom that they're trying to paint that, okay, she wanted it in the public domain. Meghan Markle clearly, when writing that letter, specifically put it in an order which could not be leaked, that she did not want it clearly to be leaked into the public domain. She had fears that it would be leaked, but that was not her intention to have it leaked. She even said, according to the text acquired by the legal team, that she even said that Jason North, who has been able to get away with this enormous bullying of Meghan Markle, even said that if Thomas Markle releases the letter, it would indeed fall on him, in his own conscience, meaning that she did not intend on having the letter released to the public. What the British tabloids is looking for is just a story. That's what they're looking for, the next scoop, the next article to write. That's why every single bit of information that they acquire that has absolutely nothing to do with the case, they're plastering it all over the front pages. Anything other than the fact that the Daily Mail, by publishing Meghan, Duchess of Sussex letter, did so illegally. They did so illegally. And they're also forgetting one thing. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is not on trial. Associated Newspapers is on trial. Wabi had explicitly stated in his judgment that his conclusion would have been the same even if Associated had been able to prove at trial every claim it had made, including claims about Mr. Markle. That's what the judge said, Justice Wabi. Rushbrook also argued that the Mail on Sunday, in publishing about half of the letter, had gone further than merely enable Mr. Markle to respond to the People article. Most of it disclosed had nothing to do with anything asserted in People's article. Instead, he accused this paper of cynically regaling its readers with sensational material. Key words: regaling its readers with sensational material. So, he also cited the statement as evidence that, contrary to her lawyer's submission, the Duchess had cooperated with the authors of a book, Finding Freedom, that discussed the letter. This, he said, was a proof of willingness to feed it into the public bloodstream. And Rushbrook did not address this at any length, though he may do so tomorrow, but he placed the North statement under the general heading of matters that Wabi had made allowances for in his judgment. In other words, he argued that North's evidence was not relevant to the appeal, and indeed, it was not relevant to the appeal. The presiding judge, Lord Justice Sir Geoffrey Vos, in an intervention that will have been welcomed by Associated Newspapers, the British tabloid's Daily Mail, said he had alarm bells because it appears there are a number of facts that the Judge Wabi did not know. Other remarks, however, that he made, appeared to show sympathy with the Duchess's case, notably in relation to the use made of the letter by the Mail on Sunday. The use that was made of the letter by the Mail on Sunday against Meghan Markle was done so in such an illegal manner that cannot be justified. You can't justify what the Daily Mail did. You just can't. There is no justification. There is no pretext of it whatsoever to justify what the Daily Mail clearly did. Zero justification. There is no justification of what the Daily Mail did. And I'm going to read something of more of a piece from a comment section that was actually talking about this case. And I believe that this piece will actually shed light on many, many things about this case. First of all, a few things have been proven. that the palace is indeed cooperating in the smear campaign towards Meghan Markle. I know Jason Knopf offered these correspondences to undermine Meghan Markle's case against the Daily Mail. And actually, Jason Knopf is saying that Jason Knopf says that he's neutral. He is not neutral. There is no way he is neutral. What he has done for us is corroborate all Meghan and Prince Harry said in the Oprah interview about the grave personal toll the media attacks took on them. So this is basically the correspondence between Meghan and Knopf. So Knopf contacted Meghan, emailing her a list of questions from the authors. Knopf wrote, "If you're happy, I will see them later this week to set out the factual background and to provide more recent context." Meghan replied that evening saying, "Thank you very much for the info below. For when you sit down with them, it may be helpful to have some background reminders, so I've included them below just in case. I know you are better versed at this than most, but assisting where I can, I appreciate your support. Please let me know if you need me to fill in any other blanks." Knopf then listed the briefing points she wanted me to share with the authors in my meeting. So that's what everything, so every single thing, actually what this proves is that the Kensington Palace corroborated with Omid Scobie and Caroline Durant in publishing Finding Freedom by Omid Scobie. Kensington Palace cooperated on it in publishing the book. This is what the letter proves. Now, imagine the lengths Meghan went to avoid her letter to her father from being leaked selectively or in part. When was the last time you wrote to your father fearing that your messages would either be leaked by him or someone else, presumably staff? Just imagine. Knopf said she wanted to write a letter rather than an email or text message, other options she had considered and discussed with senior royal household staff, as a letter could not be forwarded or cut and pasted, to not only share one small portion as part of a series of messages on 24th August of 2018. She explained that she had given careful thought to how to prevent the letter being leaked in part or in a misleading way. She explained to me by text that she had numbered the pages at the top to indicate the length of the letter 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, etc. She also deliberately embedded each page part through a sentence so that no page could be falsely presented at the end of the letter. In the event that it was leaked, she wanted the full narrative as set out in the letter to be understood and shared. She said she had toiled over every detail which could be manipulated. As you can clearly see, this is so heartbreaking. Meghan Markle went through it and my heart bleeds for her. Meghan to Knopf, if he leaks it, then that's on his conscience, but at least the world will know the truth, words I could never voice publicly. So the Duchess wanted to make sure that if the letter became public, it would assist with setting out her perspective on the problems with her father's behavior, Thomas Markle's behavior. And Thomas Markle is being invited once again to GB News, an abuser of the daughter he claims to love, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, to go over there and comment once again on the case without a shadow of a doubt. Once again, all these problems that Meghan has actually endured are all because of him. Yet he calls himself Meghan's father. The only thing that he should call himself is a sperm donor. That's what he should call himself. Now, in another message to Knopf that he revealed, Meghan said, "Given I've only ever called him daddy, it may make sense to open as such despite him being less than paternal. And in the unfortunate event that it is leaked, it will pull at the heartstrings." True. Thomas has never been anything than paternal to Meghan. That's public knowledge. Why do you think British tabloids bring him to talk to them over there? British tabloids that have waged a smear campaign, bullying Meghan Markle day in, day out, insulting her, defaming her, slandering her, calling her all manner of abusive, misogynistic names, labeling an exit of the royal family exit, as Prince Harry has said yesterday at Rewired on the Internet Lie Machine Summit. So many things, and it hurts me what Meghan Markle has been through. This for me is proof that Kensington Palace was using the UK media to undermine the Sussexes from the beginning. Wills used his staff to betray his mother. I understand why Prince Harry is not trying to actively repair his relationship with Prince William. And for that, we say thank you for the information. Thank you for showing us what they've been doing. Thank you for showing us that the palace has indeed coordinated a smear campaign against Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Thank you. Thank you for showing us that, William. You are indeed the source. You are indeed the source, William. That's exactly who you are. And this letter also shows something incredibly important. This is the Meghan that North wants us to believe bullied staff. The Meghan we see in this email, which North offered as part of his witness statement, is greatly at odds with the one he paints to the press. All I can see in Jason North's statement is a couple desperately looking for a way to correct their misrepresentations and falsehood that were actively weaponized against them. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry went through it, and my heart goes out to them. Day 2 of the trial. That's what it's been about. I want to hear from you. We'll talk about this more later. This isn't just about a one-time podcast. It's about 3 consecutive days of podcasts. So we'll talk about this later. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking our video. Thank you for subscribing. Tell us what you think about the ongoing court case. What are your thoughts? Thank you so much for joining us. With so much love for Subscribe Family TV. Thank you.